Okay, let's continue with our head model. We've got a face. It's looking pretty good. He's got eyes, he's got a nose, he's got a mouth, and he's even got a chin and a jaw. I did a little bit of extra modeling behind the scenes here, but nothing too much. My next step, the next thing that I'd like to do is I'd like to model out the skull area, just to get that blocked out. To do that, I'm going to, let me go ahead and get this out of mesh smooth and just into regular editable poly. Okay, there we go. I'm going to take this top edge loop here. Oops, that's a little too much. I'm going to take this top edge loop, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to, okay, there's my problem. Extrude it out. I'm going to take it and extrude it at least 5 times. Once for this whole edge, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, that doesn't have to be the only amount that I extrude it by, but I'm going to do that to block the whole thing out and then shape it accordingly with my viewport planes. So, okay, I've grabbed this. I've grabbed the edges that I'm going to use. Let me go ahead and, first off, let me hit the... Oh, I thought the G key might get rid of the bounding boxes. I was mistaken. Oh well. Anyway, so I've got this selected. I'm going to hold Shift, I'm going to click, I'm going to drag, and I'm going to bring that up, and then pull it back. I'm also going to very quickly grab this last one, pull it down a little bit, because it's probably going to get in the way of my my extrusions as I proceed. So, all right, that should do. Oh, as I go backwards. Let's try this again. All right, let us continue. Bring this over all the way. I'm using my side view primarily when I'm organizing all of this. Go ahead and get that completely side view like. Like I said, at the moment I'm just blocking out. I'll get heavy into shaping in a moment. But for now, let's just go ahead and get the geometry out there. Okay, let's do another extrude. Pop that over to there. Let's rotate it. Alright, and continue on. Might even use the scale tool real quick here to squeeze that in just a touch. Alright, and let us continue. Alright, looks like things are generally proportionate in terms of how we got through to everything here. I need to do a good amount of shaping to get all this proper, and I probably need at least one extra edge loop here to help emphasize the roundness of this, the curvature of this area. That's not a problem. That's one of the nice things about extrusions, and particularly because we haven't gone into too much detail with some of these areas, is that we can very easily ring this and connect it to add to our geometry. So we can do that. Now you'll note that I've got a pretty nasty pinch over here, so I definitely want to tweak that. And beyond that even, I want to double check all of this topology to make sure that, that I approve of it. And for the moment, let me go ahead and Alt-W over to here. From here on out, I can start getting into the nitty-gritty. Go ahead and pull that down. I just want it to do a simple wraparound. I don't want to get into any fancy shaping with my edge loops. I just want it to do its job. I want it to come around, and I want to make sure that all of this is nice and curved. It is. And same deal here. I want to just make this nice and simple. I'm not worried about having this being absolutely linear, having it be absolutely perfectly rounded. Right now I just want to get a nice even shape that curves around relatively naturally. For this one I can actually cheat. I can actually just use my scale tool to get it reasonably aligned, and now from there I'll just do a little bit of extra shaping. And again, I'll probably need to check out my orthographic front view to get the shape looking absolutely perfect, or at least improved. I would definitely want that reference. I think I shall grab this edge loop and I shall rotate it a little further over. And I can already tell that I'm going to want to do at least a couple of additional edge loops here, here, and here, because, well, I'm going to want it just to round out the shape, or to make it to take it that extra bit. Now this area back here should definitely thin inwards. I don't have a back view for reference, but I've seen enough heads and their shapes to know that once we go towards the back of the skull, this part tends to taper inwards, tends to circle around, so I want to go ahead and do that. Go ahead and grab that edge loop and flatten her out. Doesn't have to be perfectly flat. I just want to get a general baseline for the thing. Same deal here. And same deal here. What I'll do is I'll flatten it like such, and then I'll just rotate it like such. And as I've noted in I think one of my previous tutorials, the skull gets a little wider towards the back, so I'm going to go ahead and widen this out a touch. Again, this is still pretty much blocking phase stuff. I mean, we're still just getting general shape, and we will be making additional changes, tweaks, and adjustments to it, but for now we're really just getting a nice simple shape off of which to work. Let me very quickly Alt-W back over to here, and yes, I will try and match up to some of my reference here, because I like the shape that I've created in my reference, and want to follow that guideline as much as I can. That might be a little too much for that particular one, unless I pull the rest of this over. That'll work out pretty well. Alright. Okay, if I'm going to pull that out, then I should also pull this out as well. Again, I want this all to follow certain loop style structure. Maybe pull that down just a little bit. Alright. And now from here I will add, I'll add an extra edge loop on each of these polygons just to round it out a little bit more, just to give it that little extra bit of detail, and go from there. Okay. And now I can actually grab this and I can pull it back some. Let me think about that for a moment. Tempted to go one more, but for now, let's just keep going. I can always add more. That's the nice thing about this edge loop structure, is that I can always add more if I so desire. And I will. And I shall do so by first pulling this down just a touch, bringing that in, and then I'll bring one extra edge loop in around here. There we go. Let me go ahead and rotate that a little bit. And I even want to scale it just a touch, because I really kind of want that angling a little more towards the lower one. And always check your corners, check your sides, check every other angle of this object, because if you don't, then you might be surprised later on. And yeah, I want to pull some of this out a little bit. I want to bulk it back out. It's a little bit like a light bulb at the moment, and that won't do. Alright, let's take a look at this fella. Turn the mesh smooth back on. It's a little early to tell. I either want to sink in some of this area, push it back inwards, either that or pull some of the top part of this head outwards a little more to tweak some of that structure. But for now, I think this is actually working pretty well as a skull. Yeah, this back part is too flat. I can see that now. I will make adjustments as I go, of course, but I think that'll work pretty well for the blocking end, and from here we can move on to the next step.